So this week, we will discuss with the other party about the major results of the Inter-Korean Summit. And we will also be discussing with the Party of Justice and the Party of Democracy and Freedom about the recent progress of the Inter-Korean Summit. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday morning, President Moon Jae-in will attend a video conference, and at about 9:40, President Moon Jae-in will participate in a 2018 South Korean Forum. At 1 p.m. tomorrow, President Moon Jae-in will attend an academic seminar, and the Deputy Minister of Unification will attend another meeting. In the afternoon, we will also organize a business meeting about issues related to North Korea. So this is the major agenda of the Minister and Deputy Minister of the Unification. With respect to the Joint Liaison Office of Kaesong, do you have engaged some substantial efforts? Have you already engaged? During the Panmunjom Summit, we have reached a number of agreements. In order to put these agreements in practice, and we will accelerate the pace of implementing these results. In the joint declaration of Panmunjom, there are 3 articles related to the fact that before the end of this year we are going to transform the ceasefire agreement into peace agreement. Is there any specific timetable for this agenda? The ceasefire treaty and its transformation into the peace treaty, we have reached an agreement with the North Korea, but this is not just an issue between the North and South. And we will have to organize some 3-party or 4-party meeting. And up until this point of time, the North and South, we currently improving our relations very significantly. I'm with KCNA. After the Inter-Korean Summit, the North Korea has announced to use the time of Seoul, which means that the North and South will be using the same time. But traditionally they were using the Pyongyang time. This will be put into effect starting from May the 5th. And this is a significant effort made by Chairman Kim Jong Un in order to improve the North-South relations. Let me quickly add up one question. This year, with respect to the ceasefire treaty, it is promised that it will be transformed into the peace treaty or peace agreement. On the basis of the Panmunjom declaration, is that true that we may organize a 3-party conference or a 4-party conference. As I have mentioned earlier,
관련된 3자 또는 4자가 추진해 나가기로 하였다 그랬고요.
because the ceasefire treaty involves three parties or four parties, and no matter it is the ceasefire treaty or peace treaty, we will have to build a long-lasting peace mechanism, and we have to engage in very comprehensive efforts from all sides, and we will try to accelerate the pace.
예, 매일경제신문 김성훈입니다. 4.27 판문점 선언에
Next
다양한
question.
분야에서 남북 교류를 확대한다는 취지의 이제 내용이 포함되어 있는데요. 관련해서 통일부에서는 현재 200억 원이 넘는 남북
In
교류
the
협력 및 방북
Panmunjom
신청을 가지고
Joint
계신데
Declaration,
금주안에 이 가운데 이렇게 승인이 날 뭐 계획이 좀 있으신지 첫 번째고요. 두
and
번째는
in the immediate
아시안
aftermath of it,
게임
it seems that the Ministry of Unification of South Korea has received the invitation to pay a visit to the north. And is that true? And can you confirm this? And also, according to the joint declaration, and North and South we will work together in the upcoming Asian Games. So, will the North and South jointly participate as one Korean team? Is that feasible? For the Asian Game in 2018, we have proposed that North and South we could participate as one team. And we will continue with dialogues about this issue. To my best knowledge, the two sides will work together to promote this agenda. Well, currently we have collected 300 proposals. They are yet to be approved, and a lot of these proposals are about North-South exchanges and communications. And we will clearly and faithfully abide by the law and engage in negotiations. As you have mentioned, that in terms of sports, we could participate in the Asian Games as one team, and this is an issue that we can put on the table for discussion. So are you saying that we can discuss any issue relating this? This is an issue that we might put on the table for discussion with the North? Well, we discussed with the North and we explored on the possibility of participating in the Asian Games as one team. About the families that were separated because of the Korean War, when can we expect a reunion of the separated family members? Is there a midterm or long-term plan for this? Everybody is clear that the separated family members is a very urgent issue that we attach great importance to. According to the joint Panmunjom Declaration, this issue is also included and discussed in the Inter-Korean Summit, and we are furthering some discussions, and we will very immediately organize a meeting with respect to this issue, and currently we don't have any timetable. Maybe this week we will see some developments on this issue. Maybe we can offer you a timeline or timetable at the end of this week. Next question, please. If there is... Okay, next question. I'm from TB Korea, the Chinkang Mountain and Kaesong Industrial Corporation Complex. Are there any discussions related to these two issues?
사업에 대해서 논의가
During the Inter-Korean Summit,
그런 부분들은
maybe we have not touched upon some specific issues.
진전 과정에서
But you know that over the course of the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, as long as the conditions become mature, we will get down to real and substantial work. To my knowledge, there are six foreigners currently captured or imprisoned in the north. Was there any discussion about the relief or release of the 6 prisoners? I don't currently have specific knowledge about this. The Deputy Minister of Unification has already mentioned that we will give you the most updated information as long as we have. Any further question? With respect to the Inter-Korean Summit, there has been a lot of
평가에 대해서는
coverage and attention. So are there any general comments from the Ministry of Unification? Well, to give you an overall comment, as is mentioned by our President, and I'm not in a position to give you a general comment about, on behalf of the Korean government. In the joint declaration, there is a lot of the standpoints clearly expressed by us, and we can get down to substantial work as two sides, but for some of the issues related, we will have to rely on our conversation with our U.S. counterparts, and we'll have to see what happens after the Korean-U.S. summit. Next question, please. Now, Pyongyang time has been changed into Seoul time, the South Korean time. So how will that impact their economic activities, for example, maritime or navigation activities? But the change of time is a very first step that the North has taken towards unification. And this is the goodwill expressed by Chairman Kim Jong Un. The North and South, we are closely working together with each other, and this is a process that we have to go through. Next question. How will that affect the society of North Korea? So for this question, there might be some impact to the cost of social operations and different social activities. I think this has crossed the mind of Chairman Kim Jong Un. My question is related to the separated family members, and in the joint declaration you used the word family relatives. In addition to reunion activities or some related activities, are there any other activities on the agenda? Well, in the past we have also used the word relative.
이산가족 문제를 푸는 방안들, 고향 방문이라든지 이런 부분에 있어서는 적시자 회담
The solution to this question relies on the close cooperation between the North and South, and we will have to engage in more negotiations and discussions and to get this issue better resolved. If there's no further question, that is the end of today's press release. Thank you very much.
That was the South Korean Unification Ministry press conference. The official from the ministry, in answering the media's questions, said the two sides will accelerate the related process of a Kaesong reopening, a Kaesong industrial area, and also in terms of a ceasefire to peace treaty. He said ROK and DPRK cannot actually decide it on their own, and a three-party or four-party meeting has to be convened to decide that. And he also mentioned on May the 5th, the DPRK will change its time zone to the same with Seoul, and he hailed it as a great progress. And he also mentioned issues like family reunions and other people-to-people exchanges, and we'll give you more details about that press conference later in the show. And for more on the inter-Korean relations, let's get back to our correspondent Shane in Seoul. Hello again, Shane. What do you think are the highlights that you can take away from the press conference?
Well, I think just by the sheer number of issues that the unification is going to have deal with from this point forward shows just how widespread and just how far the division is between the two Koreas. Just a couple of notes that I want to touch on from this Unification Ministry briefing is the spokesperson there was asked about this liaison office that Kim Jong Un and Jae-in had agreed upon during the declaration. This would be set up at the border town of Kaesong, and it would really encapsulate officials from both Seoul and Pyongyang working under the same roof to act as that conduit between the two sides to keep that line of communication open. And the spokesperson there responded by saying that there probably needs to be several rounds of meetings, including high-level meetings, don't rule that out, for this to take place. And that also goes to the fact that in terms of economic cooperation or just pure cross-border exchanges between the two Koreas, a spokesperson indicating that there are currently more than 300 inter-Korean project requests that have been submitted to the Unification Ministry that they will have to approve on that, and that would be done based on the rule of law here. And other points, a couple other points to mention is the Red Cross talks, of course, with family reunions that could be resumed hopefully by around August 15th is the date that was mentioned in that declaration. And finally, no more information on possible Kaesong Industrial Complex as well as tours to Mount Kumgang resuming.
Right, and Kim, Shane, the two sides have all expressed the willingness to seek peace, although they cannot decide by their own to change the truce into peace treaty. But what are the concrete works needed to be done starting from now?
Well, if we go back to the declaration that was made, the agreement there was that both sides would work towards some sort of peace settlement or a peace regime to conclude the Korean War. But it also says that when you talk about this issue, that specifically China and the United States are mentioned in this Panmunjom declaration. And so this isn't a decision like the spokesperson there had mentioned that only the two Koreas can really decide upon. And now that said, already we've seen the diplomacy wheels begin to turn. Of course, I mentioned a moment ago that South Korean President Moon Jae-in has had his discussions with his U.S. counterpart, President Donald Trump. We know his national intelligence officer has visited Japan to brief the situation there with the leaders in Japan as well. So this is where the real work starts again in the diplomacy. And we know that there will be more exchanges, not just with South Korea, but the DPRK will be reaching out to its counterparts in different parts of the world as well to try and to come up with some sort of consensus.
Well, Shane, as Kim Jong Un said, he will shut down the country's main nuclear site in May, and nuclear issue is actually the core issue of the historic meeting between the two sides, indeed. And Kim Jong Un also said that there is no need anymore for Moon Jae-in to get up early to attend those security meetings concerning those missile tests and nuclear tests. So, how sincere do you think that Kim Jong-un is in that matter, and can we expect to see that nuclear tests will vanish, will disappear in DPRK?
Well, Another way to ask that would be how skeptical should we be over this declaration? Because it's fair to say it's fair to be skeptical based on past agreements that were made following inter-Korean summits. A lot of people will evaluate those summits as failures, so both sides have said that they don't want to go down this same path. But specifically when we talk about sincerity as to denuclearization, so far, of course, the DPRK leader has said everything correct. He said he'd allow inspectors and journalists to monitor the situation at the Punggye-ri nuclear test site with officials from both South Korea and the United States. But now it's just a matter of following through. And of course, denuclearization, the word and term itself, and how it should be defined. President Moon has made it a point to be that the middle person, to be the mediator in this situation, to try and narrow the gap of what that meaning of denuclearization will be from the DPRK's point of view in the United States. And we'll probably see that when this summit or this meeting between President Moon and President Trump is expected to take place, according to media reports and from the presidential office, sometime in May before that proposed DPRK U.S. summit.
Thank you very much, Kim. Jae-in reporting from Seoul. Now, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi will be visiting the DPRK from Wednesday to Thursday at the invitation of his counterpart, Ri Yong-ho. And Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lu Kang made the announcement this morning. And now let's talk again to Mr. Zhao Tong, a research fellow at the Carnegie Tsinghua Center for Global Policy. Hello again, Mr. Zhao. DPRK has promised to close nuclear site in May if U.S. vows not to attack. And I asked the same question to our correspondent in Seoul, Jae-in, and he said the question actually is about how skeptical should